Welcome back to the Pack Fresh podcast, where we talk about all things Pokemon TCG, give you a little peek behind the curtain of what it's like to be a seller in this space. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about Pokemon myths and if they are correct or if we're going to bust them.
We'll see what we go through here. We kind of put together a list of what we think is top 10, a few that were really close to making it. We'll start off. Our first myth is every Charizard card is valuable.
I mean, it has to be, right? Charizard's the favorite of everybody, right?
Yeah. Everybody loves Charizard. Every single Charizard card has to just print money.
And I mean, on the surface level, right? A lot of the big cards that you think about, usually a Charizard, when people think Pokemon, they think about their kids, like their childhood collection. That Holo Charizard base set was the one. That was the one we all wanted. That's the one that we look in our childhood binder. We find it in the attic and we're like, maybe there's a Holo Charizard in here. Not always the case, though.
It has such a wide range in pricing. You can get Charizards as cheap as 50 cents as some of the base cards. There's some McDonald's promos. There's also the Vivid Voltage base actually has a little bit more value than that, but not that much to get into a Charizard card.
Yeah.
Like some of the Japanese Charizards, VMAX, Climax, and a couple other ones.
There's just so many Charizards.
There's
right?
a lot of Charizards.
And obviously, if there's a chase Charizard, it's likely going to be the guy in the set, right?
Right.
And I mean, we even saw it with a set like Darkness Ablaze, right? Like that set, there was other cards in that set that were meant to be the actual chase. Charizard is actually just a normal rare, essentially, just a normal VMAX. And that ended up becoming the chase. However, it still is only worth like $30. And that's the guy in the set, right?
It's kind of crazy because that same card, I believe, was printed in the prize packs.
Yes.
And that is worth
an
exponential amount of what the Darkness Ablaze one is worth currently.
Yeah. But I think that myth is pretty, it's one of those things that, like, if you don't really know Pokemon all that well, you probably think that, right? You probably like, yeah, of course, Charizard. It's gotta be that's what I want. We always want Charizards.
Right.
But always the case, right? I mean, there's different rarity levels for everything. Charizard, obviously, like if there's 50 commons, a Charizard probably is going to have a little premium, right? There's some Pokemon, Charizard, Gengar, Umbreon, like these characters are always going to be a little bit more expensive regardless, but just because it's Charizard doesn't mean it's going to be worth $10,000.
That's true. What do we think? If we had to make a list of the top 5 most valuable Charizards?
I mean, I think first edition base.
First edition Shadowless base.
Yeah, I mean, that's the guy, right? Like that is the card. After that, I mean, Gold Star Charizard.
Gotta be the Gold Star. Like the Shining Charizard.
Shining, yep. Out of Neo. Yep. That's gotta be up there. Those are like 3 big dogs. Maybe throw in like a Fire Red Leaf Green EX or like the Dragon EX Secret could be up there, something like that.
Yeah.
Would throw in a Japanese promo.
Yeah. I mean, you're including Japanese in that, the top 5. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some.
I mean, there's that magazine promo where like the Venusaur vines are all wrapped around him. Yeah. That card is so sick.
Valuable cards there. Yeah. No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There is a lot of really cool Charizards.
There is.
We'll see what the most valuable modern Charizard is here in the next 10, 15 years.
Yep.
If you had to place from, let's call it XY era till now, what would be your top 3 favorite Charizard cards?
Top 3 favorite?
Yeah.
Man, I really like the Brilliant Stars Charizard. I think that's probably up there.
Okay.
If we're including Japanese, I gotta put that magazine promo one. That thing is just absolutely banging.
Yeah.
And then I really like the Paladin Fates Charizard. That's something super modern, but that thing is so sick looking to me.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah. No, that one is really cool. I would pick the Hidden Fates Shiny. That's one of my favorites. I would also Champion's Path,
Okay. Rainbow one or the non-rainbow one, the shiny one?
the shiny.
Oh,
That one
pretty
you
good.
don't really see like a skinny Charizard like that ever, right? He's
Yeah.
always and so that's kind of like the one off where you see it like that. And then I think an honorable mention would have to be that 151 Char.
Yeah.
That's a
I
cool
do love
one.
the card. Somebody on stream recently completely ruined it for me and they called it short neck. And I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about it? And then they sent me a
Yeah.
picture where somebody photoshopped a longer neck version. And I was like, that's it, damn it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would for my third, I would either pick the Flash Fire Charizard or the Brilliant Stars, depending on if you
The
want.
Flash Fire one is great. I mean, I definitely thought about throwing a Mega in there. I do
Yeah.
love Mega Charizard. I'm kind of holding out a little bit. This new Mega Evolution set,
Yeah, see if that'll make
the
it
new
into the
Mega
top. Yeah,
Charizard might be kind of banging. I don't know.
right. I'd probably have to say the Brilliant Stars. That fight scene is
I really like it too. There's something about anytime they do a fight scene card, it does it for me, man.
yeah,
I think it instantly brings me back to playing the games. I think that's
yeah.
what it is. It's like that framing. I'm just like, I'm locked in.
2 Pokemon ready to go and just
Mm-hmm.
battle it out. What about all-time favorite Charizard?
It's kind of a weird one.
Okay.
I love the Charizard from Legendary Treasures. It
Okay.
is, I think, amazing. It looks
It-
so like it's so fierce. That one, and then the Secret Charizard from EX Dragon is a banger. Both of those very similar cards, in my opinion, but those two are just so sick to me.
Yeah. I would pick the Lance's Charizard out of the Japanese verses.
I like that.
I don't know. It's something about the way that they're in there and they're like
Mhm.
they're so big but they can barely fit, so they're like scrunched down. All that card set is one of my favorites of all time. That
Pretty
Charizard
fire.
looks so sick. Like he can't stand up because he's hitting the ceiling. Like I don't know.
Yep.
That's a good one for me. Chasing that one in a 10 one day. We'll see if I can find it. All right, let's get on to the next one here. All old Pokemon cards are worth money.
Of course, they have to be, right?
I mean, it's Pokemon. It
They're old.
says Pokemon, and it's been in the closet for 30 years, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it has to be.
Why wouldn't it be? That doesn't make any sense. What do you
Well,
mean these are only worth 10
an
cents?
interesting thing that a lot of people don't know is the original base set of Pokemon is still to this day one of the most printed sets that they ever made. There is so many cards out there, and there's a reason why everybody goes back. Like I said earlier, you find your childhood binder, everyone has the cards.
Yeah.
Absolutely everyone does. And just because it's old doesn't mean that it's going to be a banger. Now, there's exceptions, right? You find a Charizard, it's not worth $2, right? Even if it's in poor condition, it's not going to be
Right.
worth $2. It's still going to have some value, but there's a lot of factors, right? A lot of factors that go into what make something like truly, truly valuable in the hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, it was one of the most printed sets, if not the most printed set ever.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody played with the cards. There was not top loaders, penny sleeves, all that stuff back then readily available. Everything was screw down holders and acid page binders with the 3 rings that also dug into the cards. So
Yeah.
condition has played a big part in making those cards worth exponential amounts of money. You have to have them in a good condition. They have to be clean, centered, which is obviously nothing you can control. It's off
Right.
the assembly line. And then on top of that, you had to store them away, not play with them. And so
Yeah.
so many cards come through. So many people have those cards. Like you said, everybody looks through their binder. On top of that, you had to make sure your mom didn't throw it away over the 20 years when you grew up, moved out, and then came back and said, hey, where's my Pokemon cards?
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it also has to be a character that people love, right?
Right.
Like, I love coughing. I collect every single coughing card. It was incredibly cheap for me to do because I'm one of the only people probably out there doing that, right? So I got my first edition Shadowless Coughing in the PSA 10, like $200, which that's not very much for something that came out in 1999, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, like a shadowless Ratata is not paying your bills in 2025, you know?
Right.
So,
Right.
not all cards. Let's get into the third myth here. Sealed product always goes up in value.
Well, I heard that on, you know, TikTok once
I think
or
I've been
twice.
saying that honestly.
I think everybody's been saying it.
I think I've said it.
I
I would
mean,
say I don't know that I could think of a single product if you hold it long enough that goes below original MSRP.
yeah, I mean, I think there's some nuance to this, right? I think this myth might be true. I think yes, every single product of Pokemon sealed eventually goes up.
Yeah.
Now, right now we are in a time that things release and they literally go up forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
They haven't stopped. But in a normal market, and when things start to cool down and things start to normalize again, things release. They're super exciting, they're hype, and then they are kind of there for a while.
Right.
They're on the shelves and new sets come out. The last set isn't as wanted anymore, and then that kind of dips down, right? So comes up, dips down, and then enough time passes, it's out of print, whatever, slowly starts to go up again. So I mean, you're seeing this a lot now with Sword and Shield, right? Like Sword and Shield when it first came out, I mean, Fusion Strike was sitting on shelves, you know?
Right.
Like I remember going to Best Buy and buying Lost Origin ETBs on clearance for $28. They were just sitting
Yeah.
there. Nobody wanted them, and those went up. Then there was reprints that happened. That's another big thing. Reprints come out, drops the price on stuff. And then enough time passes and becomes harder to find, and price goes up, starts to slowly increase. And
I mean, when Fusion Strike came out, when we were just opening, so we didn't have any allocation really, like any real allocation from distro. I think they gave us one ETB total.
really,
Or maybe I think it was 2 ETBs and 1 booster box was our allocation
okay,
for Fusion Strike. So we had purchased a bunch of cases, obviously at market from another store. So we had it in stock. And then the set off the rip kind of flopped. And I think we bought them for about $45 an ETB because all the sets before that were selling for about 55. So we're like, oh, we'll make about $10 a box.
right,
I think we ended up putting them in a Black Friday deal and we got $25 a piece for them. And I mean, I think 150 ETBs that we sold at a,
yeah,
$20 loss per
50%
piece.
loss,
Yep, just to get the money back to, when you're first starting up, you don't have unlimited capital. If you would have, and we could have held all that and just waited, you know, 6 years, 4 years, whatever it
right,
was. 21-ish, so about 4 years. If you could have held it 4 years, yeah, you would have been doing great, but wasn't in the cards back then.
right,
So, also with sets like this, all sets go up or at least don't go below the MSRP, but some barely make it above the MSRP.
very true.
You have something like Crimson Invasion, Rebel Clash. A lot of these sets, they're just, not very wanted. Vivid Voltage.
Yeah, I mean, you go even older, emerging powers,
Mhm.
right? Like it's good. It's getting more expensive simply because it's old, but nobody wants it, right? Like there's nothing in that set really for people to chase or anything like that. So there's no real reason for people to be ripping it. So it's more of just like a sealed collector's item, which I mean, totally valid way of collecting, but people like us, it's like there's no reason to stock it or anything like that.
The myth is true, but like you said, it's
There's a little bit of nuance in there.
yeah,
It's not
it's
so
not so
black and
cut and
white.
dry. Yeah, exactly. Hey, all right. I like that. Get into the fourth myth here. Grading your cards instantly makes them more valuable.
Well,
I mean, it's in a plastic case now. How could it not be worth triple the money?
it has a number. It has to at least be
Ser-
worth what I paid to grade it,
what does this
right?
PSA 7 mean? I don't know.
I mean, 7 times the original value.
Is that what this is? This is my multiplier for
I
what the
think it
raw
is.
grading? That
I
would
think
actually be crazy.
that would be crazy.
PSA 10 is 10 times the value. So in reality, a 9 and a 10 will add value. In truly modern cards, however, a 9,
A nine,
you might not even get your grading feedback on top of the raw.
no, you probably don't. I mean, a
It
lot of times you don't. I mean, there's a
once
few
you
cards out there that you do,
yeah,
but
not a
for the
lot
most part, it's like it's a 10 or a
plus.
bust, really.
Until it gets a little bit of age behind it. I think once you get like XY, even some Sword and Shield 9s would be worth more than the raw. But
Yeah,
anything newer, especially if you're just doing like a IR out of Scarlet Violet, for the most part, a 9 is going to be worth less than you could have just sold it for.
right. And like a lot of these things, a big, I shouldn't say fad, but that's the only word I can really think of right now
Mhm.
in the grading space is those IRs, because the people who are grading for money are like, whoa, there is a serious multiplier on these IRs going from a $10 card raw to a $300 PSA 10. But it is incredibly hard to get 10s on IRs in Scarlet and
Right.
Violet. The QC is just not great. And so it makes it so it's like a 9, you're back down to that raw value, cost, $25-$30 to grade a card, really, like all in with shipping and insurance and all that.
And the
So
time,
and the
you know,
time to do
right
it.
now, it's honestly, we talk about this, but right now we're in a time where it doesn't seem real because
Mm-hmm.
as you mentioned earlier, when a set comes out, it's hype and then it usually dies down. We're not really seeing a that dip. It just keeps rising right now. Everything keeps going up and up and up.
Right.
So it's you send the stuff off to Grady, by the time you get it back, it's worth more money than when you sent it out. But in a normal market, you're gonna see a dip 2 months later. You might have been able to sell it raw right when
For
you ripped
more
it off
than what,
release
yeah.
in a 10, even if you get a 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're truly living through an amazing Pokemon market right now. It's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will be like, pull, I don't know, like I'm just pulling out a card that I have random, right? Here's a
Yeah.
Ethan's Ho-Oh from Destined Rivals. Cool card. I really like the card. Is it worth grading? I'm not sure, right? Like in a PSA 10, maybe it's worth $50. I'm just throwing out numbers. I could be completely wrong. But, just for an example, say it's $50. You're in that card, it's probably worth $3-5 raw. You're in the card then to grade it like 25-30 bucks. If it gets a 10, it's worth 50. Then you have to sell that on eBay and get 15% fees. After all that, your net $5 profit. Is that really worth it for waiting 4 months, potentially 5 months, even, sometimes even longer to come back from the grading service?
Is that really worth it to get a 9?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Or if you get a 9, then you're back down. Like a 9 on that card is worth probably $8, and then you've lost all of that.
Absolutely. So, yes, no, depends. I mean, is it for your collection? 100% worth it.
Absolutely.
Want to grade it, put it in your collection. It doesn't matter what it gets. A lot of times, if you pulled the card yourself, it has more sentimental value for your
For
collection.
sure.
I would grade that every time. I've
100%.
graded a lot of cards when I collect here with my daughter, and she pulls them, and I'll just get them graded, even if they are only going to be worth $20-$30. I just think that's really cool for her to have growing up. Like, I pulled all these cards growing up. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's you're freezing it in time, right?
hmm,
You're encapsulating the card in that perfect, whatever, and awesome for the collection.
correct. Yeah, 100%. Let's do myth number 5. Japanese Pokemon cards are less valuable than English.
Do you think?
I
I've
mean,
heard
don't
don't
tell
rip Japanese. It's not
yeah,
worth any money.
not worth it. Why would it be worth anything? Would say this is almost like the sealed products always go up in value type, it's not so cut and dry there. I mean, if you
Right.
compare all of the most popular cards in English to Japanese, typically they're worth more in English.
Now there is some examples, right? The Moonbryon,
Yep.
it goes back and forth, but a lot of times it is more expensive in Japanese. So is the Rayquaza from Evolving Skies as well, which is Blue Sky Stream in Japanese. But there's also just it's different markets, and a lot of people will look at illustration rares. I think is like where like the biggest drop in value is. And the biggest reason for that is in English, you're not guaranteed anything in the booster box, right?
Right.
There's general odds and usually you'll get a certain amount of hits, but there's no guarantees. In Japan, there is a set guarantee where, for instance, 151, you're going to get 3 ARs, an SR or better, and a Master Ball in every single booster box. So that makes it pretty likely you're going to be able to complete all of those ARs pretty easily, right? And
Right.
the more of those that are out there, the easier they are, the value goes down, right? So, but then there's also like stuff here, like trainers generally are not super valuable. They have some value for sure, but they're not
Right.
super value. But in Japan, those things are crazy out there.
Yeah, a lot of the biggest trainers are in Japanese, printed in Japanese. And then, of course, if you look at the exclusives that we get in the US
Mm-hmm.
versus the exclusives that they get in Japan, obviously they get way more exclusive cards than we do. But you have cards like the Poncho Pikachu set that were never printed in English that are absolutely just crazy valuable. You have the stamp collection, the Pikachu and the
And the
Cramorant.
Cramorant.
Yeah, there's other cards that are obviously you said the Illustrator is one of the most expensive cards of all time. You have cards like that magazine promo.
Magazine
They're only
promo,
printed in Japanese as well.
or even something that just recently dropped, right? You have the Burger Chew.
Burger Chew.
I love this thing. And we don't get this in the States. And I think these are selling, I've been seeing these like $30 to $50 raw. And then one just sold in a black label BGS for $21,000.
It's insane.
It's unreal.
Black Label BGS obviously very hard to obtain.
Yes.
$21,000 for a modern McDonald's
A
promo
card that just came
just
out.
released. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Couple more examples. You have like that Team Skull Pikachu, kind of goes along with the ponchos and the Mario and Luigi, that set. Also the Festa.
Yes, the Festas are huge
Festa
as well.
Pikachu is, and that's such a cool card as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of examples in Japanese where those exclusive promos or cards are worth much more. We can't really compare it to the English version because we never got it, but
'Cause we
there's a
never
lot
got it, yeah.
of Japanese cards that are worth more money. I would say if you're comparing prices, like you said, a lot of those cards are going to be worth more in English. There's some that go back and forth, but then a lot of the trainers are going to be more expensive in Japanese. So it's just yes and no. I think that one goes some cards yes, some cards no. This one is you kind of get this all the time. This myth number 6 is really you get told this a lot by people that don't understand the space, right? It says Pokemon is just a kid's game. I'm pretty sure most of the products say 6 plus, not 6 to 17. 6 plus.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
fun
We
little
also have
fact
two grown men talking on the podcast
about Pokemon,
about
right?
Pokemon.
Hey, we're talking about Pokemon. I mean, it could be like the inner child, right? Talking out about Pokemon. It's a nostalgia thing for sure. You collect when you're younger,
For sure.
what you like, and then that grows into what becomes the adult collectors.
Yeah.
And the most fun thing about collecting as an adult versus when you were a kid is you have adult money now. So you can buy whatever you want that you can afford. And you don't have to say, Mom, please, I just want 500 more dollars.
When I got back into Pokemon, it's, reliving my childhood, but then appreciating it in a whole other levels. But then people with kids too are doing that same thing and then sharing that nostalgia and sharing those memories with their children. And then those children, as they get older, then they have their own nostalgia for it. And as they, it's like this cycle of, people growing up with Pokemon and then having Pokemon as an adult and continue and continue.
Right.
It's a really cool thing that I think is a very unique thing that Pokemon has. There's not many other hobbies out there that
Right.
has this unique thing, right? You can share whatever, right? You can share your memories of whatever you want to do, but I don't know, Pokemon just has this like very unique feeling to me, which is I think it's cool.
It would be an interesting stat to see how many collectors started out as when they were kids and then
Right.
grew up to become adult collectors. That number versus how many just adult collectors got into it.
That
I
would
would
be interesting.
I would be interested to know. Maybe some people can comment in the video here and let us know, how long have you been collecting?
Right.
Can we get an idea on that? That'd be kind of cool to see. That was number 6. We're over halfway. Myth number 7, first edition means guaranteed value.
Mm.
It's got the stamp on it. It was the first one. It has to be worth money. It
I
has to.
mean, more than non-first edition.
More than the unlimited.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like very similar to the talk we were having before about old equals valuable, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it needs to be in good condition. It has to be a character people care about. An interesting fact that some people might not know is in Japanese sets, first edition is actually less rare
The unlimited. Yeah.
than the unlimited versions. So if you're looking out, I have a pack right here. This is a diamond and pearl, and this is a platinum base Japanese pack. And right here, it says first edition right there. And, you might think first
Wow.
edition.
Giratina first edition.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's a very rare pack. However, an unlimited version is incredibly rare because the unlimited version, they printed a certain amount of first editions. And then I believe this is how it goes, but the unlimited versions of them was made to order. And at the time, Pokemon was not super popular, right? It wasn't as popular as it is now. They weren't printing near as much stuff. So they didn't need to order that much more product for the unlimited run. And so there just isn't that many of those boxes and those packs out there. So that's a little interesting tidbit.
Yeah. No. Good to know for everybody watching as well. Number 8, the 8th myth. Pull rates are the same across all products.
I wish.
Not right. Even with Japanese boxes having set hit rates, it is still, you're guaranteed the same amount of hits out of a box. Which hits those are?
Yeah.
They're going to put 10,000 more Chromomables
Yeah.
than one Umbreon.
Right. Well, and I think Pokemon knows what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
They know what's popular. They know what's going to be the hot card. Back in the day when they made the first sets, right? They didn't know Charizard was going to be popular. So Charizard is I think especially in first edition base set, every single holo has the exact same, it's 1 in 12 chance of being any holo in the set. Because they had no idea. They had no idea it was going to be popular. They were just like, okay, these are all the rares.
Have them all.
Yeah, I mean, it could be all Charizards. Could be all Poliwraths.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Poliwrath is the most popular Pokemon 20 years later. Who knows?
That would be wild. Imagine they're like, what's this? A dragon? No. Definitely need this Poliwrath. This thing looks sick.
It does have a giant swirl.
It does on every card.
On every card.
Number 9, this kind of ties in with the sealed. Pokemon card values only go up. I feel like this market is different. It's loosely tied to the single and the box prices, right? If a card goes up, the boxes will shortly follow the trend, right? They'll go up because the value of the cards you can pull is more. I feel like singles move at a much faster rate than sealed.
They do, for sure.
It's more like watching the stock market with singles.
Yes.
And you can, if you've got your portfolio and your stock market portfolio pulled up and it's literally just up, down, up, down, up, down all day. If you're watching it, it's, it's going up, it's going down. You got to kind of toggle back to the 1, 3, 5 year view just to see kind of where these cards are going. One thing about card values versus sealed value is even if your box on a sealed product's a little bit beat up, you're still going to get close to, if not full value for that box. Minus if it's like a ETB that somebody wants to collect on their wall, then, something like that they want pristine, but like booster boxes and other blisters and things like that, especially with the breaking market being so hot, that's a perfect breakers box. You're still going to get your money out of that. The cards, if they're damaged like that or have a little crease or whitening on the back, they're off centered. That's going to make the values go way down. It's interesting to see the difference in if you're a sealed collector versus a singles collector. If you're a singles collector, you could be a raw singles collector. Some people are binder only collectors. Some people are looking for the graded only PSA 10s. I've met so many collectors along the way, and it's like some people only collect art sets of sleeve booster packs from every set, the art, like every
Right.
single booster. Some people just do pack arts. They want an art set from every pack from every Pokemon set. Some people keep an ETB, some people keep a booster box, some people do binders of master sets, some people only keep, I know some people who do only alt arts from every era PSA 10. They
Right.
just all they keep. It's just, there's so much you can collect. There's so many different cards. Some people, like yourself, just have a few Pokemon that they just collect every card of that Pokemon. It's so cool to see how diverse the collector's market is
Yeah, for
in
sure.
Pokemon, that all of these options are even possible in the first place. Because no matter how unpopular you think a Pokemon is,
There's always somebody who's collecting them.
there's a fan that's, we know Garbodor collectors.
I've started collecting Garbodor.
Exactly, right? Like, I mean, the some of the craziest stuff, and they're like, "Oh, that's my Pokemon." That's,
Yeah.
which is it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Our 10th myth,
We're here.
we made it all the way to number 10. Pokemon's popularity peaked in the 90s. I mean, it
It
was
was crazy.
it was crazy. It's when they made one of the most printed sets, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it had to be popular because, why else would they print so much if it wasn't the most popular? Like, if it was more popular now, why wouldn't they print more?
All right.
I don't know.
Well, COVID boom with Logan Paul and all that actually was a more popular time for Pokemon than the original Pokemon boom. As crazy as it was back then in the late 90s, early 2000s, the COVID boom was absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was crazy. The COVID boom, you had so many record-breaking auctions, and since then we've seen more record-breaking auctions on certain like high-value cards, but they set so many records in the COVID era, even for like PSA 10 regular V cards.
Yeah.
There's some for like $80 to $100 for an Evolving Skies Chilling Reign,
Yeah.
just like a regular V card. And it was unsustainable. Like, there's no way that that's worth that. Even today, that's, a $10,
Right.
$15 card, depending. There might be a couple. And then obviously they kind of switched that into Trainer Gallery, which added a more art style, which now those can be worth a little bit more. But as far as the boom goes, it was insane.
Yeah.
I do think the era we're in now with Pokemon might even beat the COVID boom.
I think it's got an opportunity. I think it definitely, if it isn't there, it's probably close.
It's got a chance. I know sealed product is much higher now than it was during the COVID boom.
Right.
'Cause that was one difference. There's a lot of everything was selling for much more. Obviously, at that point, Pokemon had really gained a lot of popularity back that it wasn't very popular during, the early 2010s.
Yeah.
Where when it picked up, I mean, everything tripled, quadrupled, 5 to 10 times your money on everything. Since then, I mean, a box of Evolving Skies last year, we're buying them at $600 a piece.
Yeah.
We were buying packs at $10, $9, like at shows.
Yeah.
And now, you
And
can't
you'd be
find.
lucky to find them at $40, $35 at a show. Like for a random pack from a random dude that you have no idea where this came from. There's a lot goes into it. And booster boxes are $2,500 now for Evolving Skies.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is kind of wild. Feel like collecting should always be about the passion first, money second. Because if you're in it just for the money and you lose, you'll be upset. If you're in it because you truly like Pokemon and you collect what you collect the sealed products you like, even if you look at that stock market and it's all the way down and you're halfway upside down on it, you still have things that you like. You just bought them, at a higher time.
Yeah, I mean that's always been my main advice. People come into my stream and are like, "What should I open?" And my first question every single time is, "What do you like?
What
Like,
do you
what's your
like?
favorite Pokemon?" Because if if you're going into this and you're like, oh, I'm gonna chase the Umbreon, but you don't really care about Umbreon, when Umbreon drops 30% because something else comes out, like you're gonna be like, well, what the hell? Like, why did I spend all this money? And it's like if you
Don't do it.
liked it or you chase the thing that you really like, bottom falls out of Pokemon, everything goes to zero. I still love my coffin cards, they're already worth nothing. But but
Um,
I like them because I like them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I feel like the market has cycles, right? There's slow
Does.
times, good times. Depends. I mean, Pokemon is just cranking on a good time right now, and all the next foreseeable future of sets that we have coming out it's full steam ahead. Yeah. So don't believe every hot tip you see
Mhm.
in a market like this where we're towards the top of the market. I mean, maybe I don't know how much more it can
Who
keep going.
knows? Yeah.
It's insane. But knowledge and patience equals smarter collecting, right? You'll take losses, you'll take wins, and that's how you learn and that's how you grow as a collector and learn what you want to do.
Yep. And then that's how you don't get burned too, right? Like if you get caught up in the hype on something that you don't really care all that much about, and that thing drops a whole bunch and you're just like, why did I do this? Why did I spend all this money on this? Then it's gonna put a bad taste in your mouth about the hobby as a whole. I think that's like what a lot of people have experienced lately. These people are going into these sets that they're just like, oh, it's the only one I could find, so I'm gonna rip this,
Right.
and it's like it's a set that they didn't really care about. And then they're like, oh, well, that sucks. I just spent my budget for the month on
Um,
something I don't really care about, and then, then they get soured on the hobby and then,
right.
you just hate to see people
You
lose.
don't want that, yeah.
No, you don't lose the passion for that and sucks.
Yeah. I mean, if we were going to recap, we'd say not every Charizard is gold, not every sealed box is a win, and hype doesn't always last.
Beautiful.
So
Wow. He's a poet.
I know it's crazy, right?
That was fun though. I like that. If you guys like that format, let us know because that was pretty cool.
I think that was pretty interesting. If there's anything else like this that you want us to talk about, make sure you drop it in the comments. We're always looking for episode ideas. And I think we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys.